Good morning. Today I'm going to show how to test React components that are fetching data on mount. We're going to test an application that loads a Chuck Norris joke on every mount. Here is the component. We have two states here. First state stores the joke. Another state tracks the loading status. By default, we have a loading status because immediately after the component is mounted, we start fetching the data. We have a use effect where we fetch the data from the Chuck Norris API. We parse it as a JSON, then save the data to the joke state and set isLoading_flag to false after we've loaded the data. Here I define the fetchJoke function inline, so I can use the async and await syntax and then call it immediately after defining it. While the data is still loading, we're showing the loading text. After the data is loaded, we show the image with the joke icon URL as src and a paragraph with joke value. Now let's go to the test. Here we need to test that the component loads the joke on mount. First of all, we'll want to mock the fetch method. We do it like this: global fetch equals just fn. We create a mocked function where we return promise resolve that resolves an object with field JSON. That is a function that resolves a promise resolve with the data that we want to get from our API. We want it to have icon URL, HTTP, image, PNG, and value joke text. Now inside of our test, we can get the container by rendering our app, and then we can write an expectation: expect container inner HTML to match joke text. And the test will fail. First of all, we're receiving the loading string because immediately after we mount the component, it shows the loader. And then only after it resolves both promises, we get the data that we can render as a joke. We also have another problem. If we open the terminal and run yarn test, you will see that we are getting the act error. Every time when you're testing your component and you change the state of this component, you need to wrap it into the act method. In our case, if we go to app.js, you will see that we set the state inside the use effect that triggers on component mount. So let's go back to our test and fix it. First thing we want to do is to wrap the render into act, and then we pass a function that renders the app. Now we cannot get the reference to the container. Instead of it, we will get the screen from React testing library. We will rewrite the expectation: expect screen get by text joke text to be in the document. The test will still fail. We need to remake our test to be async. Then we await for the act to trigger, and then the callback inside of the act should also be async. And we import the act from React testing library. Here we use the reference to the screen, which is basically a representation of the document body of the document where you are rendering your tests when you're running them. Read more about it in React testing library documentation. Our test is passing, and if you run yarn test, there will be no act errors. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what else would you like to know about testing React components. And also join my Discord server to pick the topics for the next videos. Link is in the description. See you next time.